Well, no more music, not even in the intro or the closer. I don't trust any of these bogus music copyright claims, not even from YouTube. I'm not taking the chance. Well, here we go. Well, today's subject isn't exactly a sexy one. It has to do with trash cans. And, well, you know, the guys that come and pick up the trash, they do a job that, of course, is much needed. Somebody has to do it, and you don't want to get piled up with it, but they can be a little bit rough on the trash cans. They can beat them up quite a bit, and you know, they're not really gentle with them. They get tossed around and banged and thrown about. These things are pretty expensive. You know, you can't afford to keep running out and buying them, so I try to keep ours going as long as I can. And they're just so expensive, and so that's what today's topic is about. So this trash can here we've had for quite a while, and the black plastic top, it was permanently installed on that. It hinges. They have these little pegs. It's all plastic, you know, and these little pegs here. And the problem is the way these guys would handle the trash can, the plastic trash can, the plastic broke and the top got ripped off. And the first time it happened, I was able to repair it, and then it got ripped off again, but the damage was more severe. I still managed to, you know, piece it back together somehow and use some zip ties and a few things and made it work. But after about a month, well, it got ripped off to the point where it was beyond repair. So then it went to a new phase. So what you see here is the framework from a cover I made for it and fit on there, and but it was a very quick and dirty job, and I did it with materials I had on hand, and all I had for plywood was a really thin door skin, and I knew it wouldn't last long, but this lasted for, well, almost a year, until finally the little thin door skin plywood delaminated and came apart. So I ripped off the stuff that was still left, and I just have to grind that down, and I need to find some more substantial plywood, which I didn't happen to have at the time, at least not in that size. And so what I'm going to do now is, one more time, I'm going to try resurrecting this thing. I'm going to repair this wooden framework. Is all red oak, and that's pretty solid. So I'm just going to replace some plywood on, put it back together a little bit differently, and hopefully we'll get another year or two out of it, maybe more, because this plywood is well, it's outdoor, you know, exterior plywood. So, and it's also heavier. It's not that little thin door skin stuff. So, you know, maybe 2 or 3 years, who knows? But it beats going out and spending $50 for a trash can, you know. So that's what I'm going to do today. So basically all I wanted to accomplish here was to get rid of all the rough stuff from the delaminated door skin, and there's still, you know, a veneer on there, but that is actually glued to the wood, and I'm not going to worry about getting it down to the bare oak. That's good enough. That's going to actually be the top of the underside of the trash can, and this time plywood's going to go on the opposite side, and well, we'll see how it goes from there. This big piece of plywood here, a piece of 1/2-inch plywood, was it's been reclaimed. It was part of a sign. There's another piece the same size as this, and it was an old sign that had to come down, had to come apart and be removed, and I was given permission to be able to keep this plywood, providing I was willing to take the sign down for the people. So I agreed to that, and so once more I have some wood I can use for this project without having to go out and buy anything. I get to repurpose a section of this wood. So I'm just going to cut off a piece that I need, and I'll use the framework from the trash cover I had built before, use that as a template to cut out this new piece of plywood to fit the frame. Okay, so I have the trash can lid framework laid out on this piece of plywood, and so all I have to do now is just carefully go about tracing around it with a Sharpie, and that'll be my cut line. Okay, I don't know if this will show on camera, but basically I have an outline drawn, just a plywood cover. All I have to do now is cut this out. I'll do that with the probably with the jigsaw. Okay, I'm just going to lay this framework out, see how that works, see how it fits. I should have marked this top, the orientation of it. Maybe I have it at 180 out. Because none of this was really perfectly symmetrical or anything. It was just something I threw together. Let's see if that looks any better. Actually, that is 100% better. It's not perfect, but it is better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this new piece out from underneath. This time it's going to be mounted on the top. That'll keep any rain from collecting in here. And before I had some limber holes cut, underneath this wood through that oak, so that if rain did collect, it would drain out, and it did work until enough dirt and crap got in there and clogged it up. And that just accelerated the delamination of that thin door skin. But this should last quite a bit, and if I put this on the top, there's nothing, no rain can collect. And so that's what I'm going to try. I think I can live with this. He said it may not be perfect, but I think that'll work. Okay, I'm not using any glue this time. I'm just going to pin it with some brads, and then I'll go over it with put some screws in there. That worked pretty good. I'm going to do some pre-drilling and countersinking for the screws, and I'm using stainless steel screws, which were actually the ones I took out from the lid that had the old thin plywood on it. I'm just going to reuse these. They're still good. No sense in spending more money and buying more screws. And the only reason I'm using stainless steel screws in this case is because it's leftover inventory from my old wooden boat shop I had on Cape Cod. Other than that, I wouldn't have used stainless. Just going to put a few in here and there. And I'm not going to ask you to sit through the whole thing. I'm just going to put a few of these in, and then I'll come back after I finish getting these all in. So off camera, I took a drill and I used the holes from the screws that hold the handle on, and I went through those holes with the drill on the underside. I did that so I would know where they'll be located on this side here. And I just want to clean them up, open them up a little. Now they should align, although the framework didn't align perfectly, so I don't know, I might have to make some adjustments. But I marked the handle, you know, facing forward. When I took it apart. Well, let's see what happens here. If I can just get this to line up. I got it sticking through. Let's see if they align. Yeah, they actually do. So I'm going to run these up just a little bit. Just let them go in a little ways. I didn't tighten it because I still have to. I've got to be able to move this. Get the other ones in. Okay, this is complete. All that's left now is to install the lid onto the trash can with these red oak hinges, or the caps for the hinge that make up the hinge. Screw it back in. Just sit on top like so. You just have to put this cap on. And I simply have to align it. I'm not going to tighten it just yet. All there is to that hinge. One more hinge to put on. That's right, I put the marks on that after I'd already taken it off. And it wasn't aligned with the screw. All right. So I'm done. Works. The only problem now is that this trash can is pretty top heavy. If you open the lid, but that plywood is much heavier than that door skin, it'll want to topple the thing over until you get some trash in it. But as long as you put the lid on every time you put a bag in, it should be fine. But it saves me 60 bucks from having to go out and buy a new one. So there you have it. Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. I very much appreciate it. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and if you do subscribe, remember to ring that little bell so that you can be notified of any new videos that are published. And once again, thank you very much for watching my channel. Comment if you will. Thank you.